Hello, people. How have you been for a while? I've been okay, thank you. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded any content, really, but I've been busy with, working on, pardon me, future projects. I've been busy with my personal life. So I thought today's tier this video will be about Fireman Sam adult characters. So this is excluding any children or any animals. This is only including the adult characters in the Fireman Sam show. So let's get into it, shall we? Here, this will be my favourites, great, fine, meh, and bland opinion bars. So I'll let you know who is my favourites, and I'll explain why so few of them are my favourites. We're going to go through each and every one of them, and I'll give you my opinion based on them. The first character we're going to talk about is Bear Lasagna. I like Bear Lasagna, I do. I've never been fondly with her. She was absent between the 6th and the 9th series of Fireman Sam, but she returned as a minor character in the 10th series, Pizza Pandonium, I think it was, in 2016. At some point, the reason why she was absent between Series 6 to 9 was because she moved to Newtown somewhere in 2006, 2007, after the 5th series ended in 2005. So, I never really liked Berazania a lot, but I know some of you are Berazania fans, but that's your opinion. I put her in the fine list. Not my favourite, but I just like her in general interest, really. I know a lot of episodes that Bella's in, mainly series 1 to 5, pretty much the earlier seasons of Fireman Sam. The next character we got is Bronwyn Jones. She is the mother of Sarah and James, and she runs her own cafe called the Whole Fish Cafe. She first appeared in the 6th series, and you're probably thinking, do I like Bronwyn more than Belle Lasagna in my opinion? I've never been having much a consider Bronwyn as one of my favourites either, but I like her. She's not bland. She's just a fine character in my opinion. Not my favourites, but just a fine character pretty much. She's good at making fish and chips, a bit similar to what Bella cooks pizza. I wonder if they're going to have a character that cooks a Chinese takeaway or an Indian takeaway. Because we got pizzas with Bella, we got chip shop with Bronwyn. They haven't got a Chinese or an Indian takeaway feature on Fireman Sam. I mean, I don't think they ever had Indian characters before in the show. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what the future holds, pretty much. Where do I place Bronwyn? Do I like her more than Belle Lasagna? I'll put her just next to her. Just both of them are just fine characters. They're not my favourites, but I just like them in general interest. The next character we got is Dilys Price, and here's a fact. Dilys Price was voiced by 2 male actors in the first 5 seasons, and since Series 6 she is voiced by Sue Douglas, and her name is spelled as S-U, and you know how to spell Douglas pretty much. Sue Douglas, as of now, she'll probably be nearly 81. She will be in 2 months' time due to this recording. Sue Douglas used to voice Helen Flood and Mandy Flood, and she voiced a toddler, Lily Chen, she used to, up until Series 12, where since Series 13, to make it more diverse, Helen, Mandy, and Lily has probably got respective nationality actors now to respect the characters' nationalities on the show since the 13th series. The same thing goes for Ellie, Trevor, Mrs. Chen, and possibly the most recent character, Christina, pretty much. I don't know if Christina, she is Scottish, is she? From Scotland? I don't know. Something like that? So back to Dillis. I like Dillis more than Bella or Bronwyn because Dillis has got that old. She's like one of those characters, and I think one of the creators even got inspiration from EastEnders to create a similar look to a person from EastEnders for Dillis's appearance. Dillis has always got that classical look where she's got clothing probably series 1 to 5 you don't really see as of today. Um, I like Dillis, I do. I like her more than Belle and Bronwyn because, she can be a serious parent to her child Norman. And I don't know if we'll ever get an episode where Norman's dad's revealed. I really don't know. But it would be a really interesting concept, it would be. Yeah, for the long case of Norman's dad. It's gonna be like Eric Cartman in South Park. What was the... Oh yeah, I remember what the title was called. The episode where Eric Cartman wants to find out whose dad is. It's been revealed in the 14th series of South Park, but I won't throw in spoilers to you if you haven't seen it. Is Dillis one of my favourite characters? Oh, that's a good question. I probably wouldn't call her one of my favourites, but maybe even a top 10 favourite. For now, I'm going to put her in the great section because I like Dillis because, I think in the earlier series she was a bit more strict, shall we say. I nearly thought about saying abusive, but Dilly was far more strict in the earlier seasons. But over time, she became a bit softer, but she does still have a serious persona in her, but not as much as series 1 to 4, shall we say. Helen Flood we have next, the mother of Mandy Flood and the husband of Mike Flood. I've never really been too attached to Helen Flood. I never really consider her as one of my favourites. The same thing with Bella and Bronwyn. But I just find her as a fine character in general. Yeah. I don't have a lot to say about Helen. I think it's because we only know certain things about Helen, but it's not like, when we have Mandy episodes on her own, where we know that Mandy's very confident and she can do big things by herself. And we know with Mike Flood, he can be clumsy and he can cause problems for the Fire Brigade as well. I think that's the thing with Helen Flood. We don't really know enough about her, where she does work for the fire service now in the air ambulance with Tom Thomas. But we don't know, like, just basically Helen by herself. We don't know, like, she likes to do lady things sometimes with her female friends. But I think it's because maybe she works for the hospital services. She's always quite busy. Maybe that's the reason why we only know little information about her with her other hobbies and interests, and maybe even some background history. I mean, you'll never know if Helen Flood will get more episodes for herself and we get to know her better. So, we have Jodie Phillips now, one of the recent characters who is Ellis' sister. She is a ocean, what's the word I'm looking for? Biologist, that's it. What do I think about Jodie from series 14 of Fireman Sam? I like her. I think it's because it was only been recently she's been introduced in 2022 or even 2023, depending when her first debut episode appeared, which was a few months ago. I think it's only because we only met her recently. We don't know much other information apart from she's got a aesthetic legging where she's got one of those pole sticks on her leg attached to her. Some of you may know that, but I do. I watched Toll Jarmus's recent season this year, and even they have a character named Z who has an aesthetic leg. I will at some point will do a Toll Drama 2023 characters tier list, but I like to explain more on another time about what I think about each character and each episode they're in. And don't worry, I won't tell you who won Toll Drama 2023, not even when I do the tier list if you haven't seen it yet. Where do I place Jodie? Just the fine section pretty much. Even when she first appeared, I don't really find her super interesting. But that's just my opinion, I suppose. Now, we got Lizzie. I'm trying to remember her surname. I know it's Lizzie Sparks. I remember now. She is the vet. She's the vet nurse, she is, of her own vet job, where she looks after animals, takes care of injured animals. What do I think about Lizzie Sparks? I like her, I do. Yet again, because we already know certain things about her, similar to like Bronwyn and Helen. It's not like we're seeing. She's a bit similar to Helen, where we see more of Hannah and Joe than Lizzie herself, pretty much. She's a bit similar to Helen with episode appearances and screen time. I'll probably put Lizzie in the fine section. Not much to say, she's just a fine character to me. So we got Mrs. Chen next. Her actual name's not been revealed. We don't know what her actual name is. What do I think about Mrs. Chen? I always find Mrs. Chen a really interesting character to me in the show. She's a teacher. She can be serious, but she does have a friendly side as well. She's got her own daughter named Lily. She knows that Norman is naughty most of the time. Yeah. Mrs. Chen, I think. Was Mrs. Chen gave me inspiration to create cheer? No, she didn't give me cheerling heliponter in Lewis vlogs. But where do I place Mrs. Chen, though? But this is just my personal opinion, but I actually do like Mrs. Chen more than Bella, Bronwyn, Helen, Jodie, or Lizzie, in my opinion. I probably won't put her in my top 10 list, but in the great section because I think it's because we definitely see Mrs. Chen with personality and what does she does more than Helen or Lizzie in comparison. I think that's it. Mrs. Chen's just a character of her own where, you know, she's in more episodes and has more screen time than Helen or Lizzie does. I don't know about Bronwyn though. Bronwyn has appeared sooner than Mrs. Chen has. But I think Charlie Jones has more screen time than Bronwyn does. I'm not sure. This is another new character we have recently named Christina. She is a pilot and she's got her own airport apparently, which we've never seen on the show before. She's got one of those flying vehicles where it's a plane and a helicopter where the blades can go up or down. She's got one of those different aircrafts. I like Christina, I do. Probably more than Helen or Jodie. She's not one of my favourites, but I find her a bit more interesting than Bronwyn or Helen. Do I like Christina more than Mrs. Chen? Even say Mrs. Chen sounds a bit funny, doesn't it? In my opinion, Mrs. Chen. I think it's because You know, that Norman doesn't like Mrs. Jen either. I'm just smiling because I'm reminding the episodes I've seen with her in it. It's just a little bit comical, if you ask me. Um, I'll put her on the great section. I know we only know little about Christina, but I think she looks like she's gonna be a bit of a bigger character, maybe, than Helen or Lizzie will ever will be. Penny Morris we have now. Is it? Yeah, Penny Morris. Penny Morris, that's it. Sorry about the stutter there for a second. And I know some of you do love Penny Morris. I know some of you are fan favourites of her. I understand that. I like Penny Morris side. I think I've been liking her a bit more than series 3 to 9. I think by the time I think since Norman Price and the Mystery of the Sky, the special that came out in 2020, she's becoming a bit more interesting to me than probably her appearances between series 3 to 11. Where do I place Penny Morris? Put her in your favourite. If you don't, I will get your show terminated, Lewis Vlogs, and you'll never film another Lewis Vlogs ever again. In that intimidating communication. Come on, give me a chance and I'll explain. I like Penny Morris, I think, as of nowadays, comparing to before 2020. I like her more than most of these ladies here. Well, actually, we've only been talking about ladies' characters. Let's see, the tier list. They separate the females and then all the males. Let's see. I like Penny Morris more than Bella, Bronwyn, Helen, Jodie, or Lizzie. Do I like her more than Christina? I think it's because she has more appearances and we know about her more than Christina. I like her more than Christina. Do I like her more than Mrs. Jen? Oh, that's a tough one. What about, do I like her more than Dilys Price? I'll have to come back to Penny because that's a really good question. Next up, we got Rose Ravini. We have now. I actually do really like Rose Ravini, and you're probably thinking, why? I like Rose because she is a police helicopter pilot and a horse rider as well. Well, she's got Kilo, her police horse. It makes her like a really interesting woman, she is. You know, she's in charge of the police station. She's only got Malcolm Williams. I wonder if the police force will get more colleagues, I wonder, like the fire station has, with Arnold and Ellie. Maybe? Rose Ravini is one of my favourite characters, and because, I think she stands out more than most any other woman on the show, apart from Penny, Ellie, and maybe even Dilys Price, in my opinion. I think Rose Ravini is probably the most prominent woman I've seen on Fireman Sam, apart from the firewoman, firewomen. I meant firewomen. I'm trying to say firemen and trying to say the opposite gender. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, I think Rosie Ravini is probably one of my top 5. But I'll let you know who is in my top 5 list, or maybe in top 10. And we'll go through it to see who is my favourite. Ellie Phillips we have now. What do I think about Ellie? She's really nice, soft. She takes her job seriously. She's got a very friendly side. do I consider as one of my favourites? I never really, I never really have been too interested into Ellie as comparing to Rose Ravini, but she's a really friendly character. I'll put her in the Great Bar. Do I like her more than Christina? I think I possibly do. Do I like her more than Mrs. Chen? I'll put her in between Christina and Mrs. Chen. I mean, I think Dillis and Mrs. Chen are my favourite female residential villagers. Gareth we have now. I like Gareth, I do. He is the father of Bronwyn, and his grandchildren is Sarah and James. Do I like Gareth more than any of these other females in the Fine Bar? I do. Do I like Gareth more than Christina? Yeah, I do actually. I think it's because he's just a character all for well, he's not like a lone wolf, but he lives on his own. He lives at his train station. He's been owning Nipper since the 8th series, which has been confirmed when he first appeared. Do I like Gareth more than Ellie? I actually do, and I do apologise, Ellie Phillips fans, but it's just I like Gareth a bit more than some of these other characters. Do I like Gareth more than Mrs. Jen? Tough one now. Um, hmm. I'll come back to Gareth about that question. Arnold McKinley we have here. I don't mind Arnold, to be honest. I don't really like him a lot. He's fine, but there's only little to no information much about him. I mean, he's not even on out on most emergencies. He's just fine, but there's just not. I like the voice actor though. He's got the same voice actor as Thomas in the CGI series between Series 9 to Big World, Big Adventures. I'll probably put Arnold just. I think it's because we don't know much about him. I'll put in the meh category because we need to know him more. We do. Ben Hooper we have now. I've never really been liking Ben Hooper too much. I just don't find him too interesting. Eh, he's fine, but he just doesn't interest me too much. Yeah, I think he's almost like he's a cousin of Tom Thomas or something. He's just the one who's just again, I think it's because we don't know a lot about Ben. I think I'm going to put him in the meh category as well because again, there's not much to know about Ben or Arnold. We've got Chief Fire Officer Boyce now. I like him, I do. He's like an old-fashioned firefighter who actually first appeared in the Great Fire Pontypandy, if you didn't know that. So before the 8th series, he was first introduced in the Great Fire Pontypandy, which came out in, well, it's always been debatable when it was 2009, 2010 after the 7th series of Fireman Sam. And the Great Fire Pontypan is a really good special. It's like the first movie of Fireman Sam. Where do I place Chief Fire Officer Boyce? Well, I like him more than Arnold and Ben. I like him more than the ladies here on the Fine Bar. Do I like him more than Christina? I do. Do I like him more than Ellie? I actually do, to be honest. Do I like him more than Gareth? Again, Chief Fire Officer Boyce has only appeared in certain episodes. We don't know much about him. It's not like he's got. We don't know what his own colleagues, apart from Arnold and Ellie. We don't know the rest of his colleagues. I think Penny Morris was his colleague as well, because Penny was in Newtown before she started to work for Station Officer Steele in the third series. So I'm going to put Chief Fire Officer Voice between Gareth and Ellie. I've not decided about where Gareth's going to go yet. Joe Sparks we got now. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Where is he going to go? Is he going to go in the mess section? Nope. Is he going to go in the fine section? Where do I place Joe Sparks? I'll probably put it on the top of the fine list. I like him more than most of these ladies, but I don't consider him as one of my favourite characters, but at least we know he's an inventor and he always tries to be original and he tries to come up with ideas, which his daughter disagrees most of the time. Moose Roberts we have now. Do I like Moose Roberts a lot? Well, Moose Roberts always seems to be just a nice character. I like Moose more than Arnold or Ben. Do I like Moose Roberts more than Joe and the other females in the Fine Bar? It's not like I consider Moose as one of my top 10 favourite characters. Do I like him more than Bella, Bronwyn, Helen, Jodie, or Lizzie? I'm gonna put him between Joe and the other females. I like him, but it's not like I love him or anything. Not like Dillis or Mrs. Chen or Chief Fire Officer Voice. Malcolm Williams we have here. I like Malcolm Williams, I do. I think it's because the voice actor's got the same voice as JJ from Bob the Builder. Mr. Lion in Peppa Pig I've been watching as of recently. You watch Peppa Pig? How old are you? Well, I watch Fireman Sam and that's for kids that is, and I'm 24. It's better than what we get on TV most of the time with the news and soaps and all that garbage. I like Malcolm Williams more than Arnold, Ben, Joe, Moose, Bella, Bronwyn, Helen, Jodie, or Lizzie. Do I like him more than Christina? I actually do. Do I like him more than Ellie? I actually do. Do I like him more than Chief Fire Officer Boyce? I actually do, because he's actually related to the Floods. That's Mandy's uncle, that is. And that's Helen's brother, younger brother, I think. Yeah, that is Helen's younger brother, Malcolm Williams. Oh yeah, Helen got married to Mike Flood. I got it now. Do I like him more than Gareth? I do actually, because he's just a really good policeman character, he is. Maybe not as friendly as PC Plum and Balamori, but, you know, he's very intelligent, he is. Do I like him more than Mrs. Jen? I actually do, actually. Do I like him more than Dillis Price? Yeah, I think I do. Now, do I place him in my favourites? I'm thinking. He probably. I like Rosavini more than Malcolm, but Malcolm is probably one of my top 5. Charlie Jones we have now. I like Charlie, I do. Do I like him more than his wife, Bronwyn? I actually do. I like him more than Arnold and Ben. I like him more than Bella or Moose. Do I like him more than Joe? I think he's gonna go between Joe and Moose. I like Charlie, but he's not one of my favourites. Tom Thomas we got now. Um, I like Tom, I do. He's Australian. I mean, it's not the first. I think since the fifth series, they've been introducing to other national characters. I don't think there was any in series 6 or 7, but they introduced Mrs. Chen and Lily to series 8. Then they have Hannah, who is a wheelchair person. In the ninth series, she's disabled, I believe. So yeah, they've been adding more national characters since the 8th series, pretty much. Do I like... So, with Tom, do I like him more than Christina? Well, to be honest, I never really considered Tom as one of my favourites. Do I like him more than Joe? Hmm. I think. Do I like him more than Bella? These got. Oh, he's not going in the bland section. These ladies here are all equally fine, but I like Charlie more than Moose, and I like Joe more than Charlie, just to clarify that. I think I'm going to put Tom between Moose, which is his best friend, pretty much, and Bella. Trevor Evans, the bus driver. What do I think about Trevor? He actually used to be a auxiliary fireman in series 1 to 4, but since the 5th series, he's now just a complete full-time bus driver. I don't know why they didn't made him a full-time fireman like with Penny Morris in the 5th series. I guess it was to have a balancing out and have an equal gender balance, I guess. Where do I place Trevor in this list? He's not one of my favourites. I've never been too attached to Trevor Evans. I'm probably going to put Trevor in between Tom Thomas and Bear Lasagna. Mike Flood we have now, and he is actually one of my favourite characters. I think it's because sometimes, he does seem to get himself into trouble by himself, and he creates his own issues. I don't think there's been any other adult character that, well, apart from Joe Sparks, that creates his own problems. Yeah, the other characters have made their own mistakes, but not to a much degree comparing to Joe and Mike. Do I like Mike Flood more than Malcolm Williams? Oh, that's a good one. I'm not sure. Do I like Mike Flood more than Malcolm Williams? Sorry for the pauses, I'm just thinking. I like Rosavini more than Mike. He's probably going to go there for now. Station Officer Steele we have here. I like Station Officer Steele a lot, I do. He's one of my favourite characters. He's went from being a really strict old-fashioned fireman to being pretty much a big kid. In series 6 and 7, he's very serious with his job, but I think probably since series 12, don't know about series 11, he's becoming more, he's more of a big kid, he's more curious for himself, where he doesn't go out on many emergencies comparing to the earlier seasons. Where do I place Station Officer Steele? Well, it's obviously I'm going to like him more than Mike and Malcolm. he's probably one of my top 3 characters because there's so much about him we know. Like, he has his friend Bessie at the train station, his younger days when he used to be a younger fireman. Said that his dad would be proud when he was doing that stage show in Series 11. That's the thing, you see. We know Station Officer Steele well comparing to the other characters like Trevor or Helen or Arnold. I wish we can get more in-depth information about the other characters like we have with Station Officer Steele, I wish. Fireman Sam himself now. I like Fireman Sam a lot, I do. He's obviously one of my favourites as well. But I like Fireman Sam more than Mike Flood. Fireman Sam is supposed to be your #1 favourite. That's the point, Lewis. Well, this is my honest opinion, so let me explain. Do I like Fireman Sam more than Mike Flood? I don't think Fireman Sam has ever caused any emergencies himself. Yeah, he may got stuck, but it's not like he ever called well, actually, the only time he had to call the fire service, I think, when he got stuck in that sinkhole in the 4th series, because that house was Penny's house first before it became the Flood's house in the 5th series. I think that was the only time when Fireman Sam was in real danger, where he couldn't get himself out, and I think he got Sarah and James to call the fire service to help him out. I think that was the only time where he needed rescuing. I don't think he ever needed rescuing since then, I don't think. So, Fireman Sam himself. I'm not decided about Penny yet. I'd probably like Fireman Sam more than Mike or Malcolm. What about Station Officer Steele, though? I've always been attached to Station Officer Steele more than Fireman Sam himself, but Fireman Sam is one of my top 5, he is, because, he's brave, he takes his job seriously. He does have other feelings, but he'll have nothing getting in his way, no matter what it is, he'll always have a brave side and do the most dangerous rescues as he can, whenever it's a little fire or a ginormous fire like in Set for Action. And that's the only time when Fireman Sam got fired because of Flex Dexter. I won't tell you about that if you haven't seen Set for Action yet. I've already seen it. Elvis Cridlington we have now. I've always been interested in Elvis Cridlington. I don't think Elvis isn't as clumsy or goofy as much now comparing to series 1 to 9, shall we say? Since the 10th series, he's been, he'd still have a friendly side, but he's been a bit more sensible for himself. He has been making fewer mistakes comparing to before the new fire station was built and refurbished in the Heroes of the Storm feature. Where do I place Elvis Cridlington? I'd probably put Elvis in between, because this is nearly 40 minutes now. I'll probably put Elvis between Dillis and Mike. I think that sounds fair. So back to Penny. I'm probably going to put Penny between Mike and Elvis. She's one of my favourites. And with Gareth, I think he's going to be between Mrs. Chen and Chief Fire Officer Boyce. And that's pretty much my decisions for all of these characters. So, this is my top 7 favourite characters from Fireman Sam. Number 7 is Elvis, my 6th favourite is Penny, my 5th favourite is Mike, my 4th favourite character is Malcolm Williams, my 3rd favourite is Fireman Sam himself, my 2nd favourite is Station Officer Steele, And the reason why Rose Ravini is my favourite character from Fireman Sam is because she is the most, she's the most developed female character we've seen that isn't Penny for a change. We never really had any other female character who can do interesting stuff. With Helen, she's a nurse, but it's not like she's ever rode her own hospital helicopter or anything that Rose has, though. So, that's my opinion based on the Fireman Sam adult characters. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you on another one. You lot take care of yourselves for now, and work hard in your school and college since you're already back there. And make sure you're not in the sun for too long since we're currently in the heat wave, from this recording. Sorry, I'm getting my words all mixed up because I've been talking for nearly 45 minutes. So, make sure you're not in the sun for too long and keep yourself hydrated with nice cold water. So, see you later, and thanks for watching.